Hey, Commanders fans, hold on to your heart because Washington is about to shock the NFL world with an incredible behind-the-scenes move. Today, a strategy went into effect to bring one of the most dominant and physical receivers in the league to play alongside Terry McLaurin. We're talking about a blockbuster trade with a conference rival that could transform our offense into an unstoppable machine overnight. I'll tell you who this star is and how this deal could be closed soon. But the bombs don't stop there. The front office just confirmed an official visit from a player who's flying under the radar. But scouts treat as the biggest surprise of the draft so far. This guy could be the new engine of our ground game, and I'm going to reveal his name in this video. And also, you'll see the crucial details about the recovery of one of our veteran leaders. What he decided about his career's future after that devastating injury is giving everyone in the locker room goosebumps. I'm going to open this black box now, but first, like the video, it's just one click, and it helps me a lot to keep bringing these exclusive updates. And if you breathe, Commanders, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any updates on this historic rebuild. The Washington Commanders still have many gaps to fill in the 2026 NFL Draft, but a recent trade scenario puts them negotiating picks for an elite player. As a fan who follows every move, I know that this trade could completely transform our offense. The Washington Commanders are looking to further reinforce the roster in the offseason, strategically aiming for the 2026 NFL Draft. There are still many possible negotiations until then with available free agents, but that's not the only option to strengthen the team. The latest article from Fox Sports presents an interesting trade proposal that would give them an advantage, and at a reasonable cost in terms of draft capital. Fox Sports proposes that the Washington Commanders trade the wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Metcalf, for this impactful acquisition. Ralph Vacchiano, senior NFL columnist at Fox Sports, wrote an article about a trade that all NFC teams should make. The Washington Commanders still need an elite wide receiver this offseason, and Vacchiano proposes that they negotiate to acquire star DK Metcalf before the draft. Vacchiano suggests that the Commanders trade their third-round pick in 2026, 71st overall, and their fifth-round pick in 2027 for Metcalf. In my opinion, this would be an obvious decision, even if they only have 6 picks in the NFL Draft. The idea of the Steelers trading Metcalf entirely depends on what happens with Aaron Rodgers and if Pittsburgh is going to try for the title in 2026 or enter a rebuilding process, Vacchiano wrote. They just signed Michael Pittman, so the roster wouldn't be depleted without Metcalf. And Metcalf was a bit of a disappointment last season, with only 59 receptions for 850 yards and 6 touchdowns. He would have better luck with the younger and stronger Jaden Daniels throwing the ball to him, Vacchiano continued. And the Commanders are desperate for a wide receiver to play alongside Terry McLaurin. Metcalf cost the Steelers a second-round pick. But after a bad year, and with 3 years and over $100 million left on his contract, something less than bad would be acceptable. Why should the Washington Commanders strategically negotiate the acquisition of DK Metcalf? Yes, giving up the Commanders' third-round pick wouldn't be ideal for the draft, but securing Metcalf could be worth it considerably. Metcalf is only 28 years old and is already under contract for 3 more years with the Steelers. He comes with a hefty contract and a cap hit of over $31 million over the next 3 years. 2026 could be Terry McLaurin's last year in Washington, with his own considerable cap increase. So Metcalf could naturally take his place after the next season. Metcalf is 6'4", and 229 lbs, and can still dominate an open field against defenders. The Washington Commanders could choose a wide receiver at the 71st overall pick, but there's no guarantee he will succeed. They have been aggressive this offseason trying to secure an elite wide receiver option, and may continue that quest after several frustrating attempts in free agency. As a fan, I see Metcalf as an addition that could transform our offense. The Washington Commanders added another intriguing prospect to their top 30 list, and he could end up being the biggest surprise for the team in the 2026 NFL Draft. There are 10 days left before the Washington Commanders kick off activities looking to strengthen the franchise's future. Through the 2026 NFL Draft strategically, the team conducted an extensive evaluation of the available talents in the draft, and even got to know some prospects better during the visits of the top 30 players to the Commanders' facilities. One of those recent visits was a pleasant surprise, revealing an interesting prospect that could impact the draft. And significantly, the team's running back group. The Washington Commanders are bringing in running back Emmett Johnson for a visit as one of the top 30 players. The Commanders have been heavily linked to elite running back Jeremiah Love since the NFL scouting combine, but it is becoming highly unlikely that he will make it to the 7th overall pick. They could change their mind and select another top running back, which no one expects at this point. The chances of that happening have increased even more with the Washington Commanders bringing in running back Emmett Johnson. For a visit among the top 30 draft prospects, Johnson has a chance to be the 3rd or 4th running back selected in the NFL Draft, which means the Commanders would have to trade up to gain more picks on the second day of the draft. or select him at the 71st overall pick, which would be a considerable surprise. The Commanders can certainly add another running back to the roster, and Johnson is a player to keep an eye on during the draft. Why should the Washington Commanders select running back Emmett Johnson in the draft? The ground game was one of the strengths of the Washington Commanders last season, but the running back group looks quite different after some off-season changes. Rachaad White signed a one-year deal with the Commanders, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is the starting running back next season. Bill Krosky-Merritt is also looking to build on his impressive rookie season and become a more complete running back for the team. Chris Rodriguez Jr. went to the Jacksonville Jaguars in free agency, but Jeremy McNichols has returned and could be fighting for a roster spot. Selecting Johnson in the draft would certainly complicate things, given his exceptional talent. Johnson is a 5'11" and 200 lbs running back who forced 68 missed tackles in 2025, the 9th best mark in the country among all running backs. He creates explosive plays with his game vision and explosiveness at the line of scrimmage, and accumulated 1,450 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns last year. Fans may hate the pick, but Johnson is extremely talented and could be the future number 1 running back for the Washington Commanders. If they trade up and get another second-day draft pick, Johnson could definitely be an option to be considered to further strengthen the offense. As a fan, I see Johnson as a player who could make an immediate impact. And now to close with resilience, you will understand how Zach Ertz refuses to let his serious injury define the end of his career. After a brilliant career with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals, which saw him win a Super Bowl in the 2017-2018 season, tight end Zach Ertz arrived at the Washington Commanders to help in the new era that was beginning with Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, and then rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. In the last 2 seasons in Washington, Ertz played admirably for a veteran of his age, serving as the perfect safety net for Daniels in critical moments. But this was unfortunately interrupted after he tore his anterior cruciate ligament in Week 14 against the Minnesota Vikings in a devastating way. It was a serious injury, to say the least, as Ertz was having a great season and heading towards becoming an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Since then, Ertz has been recovering to return to the field determined, and in a recent interview with Jeff McLean of the Philadelphia Inquirer, he has shown determination not to let the injury define the end of his professional career. "I don't want this to be the last play I make," Ertz said with conviction. Even talking to people now, and they do it from the heart, they say, "Man, that injury was tough. When people think about my career in that last play, I don't want that to be the starting topic of the conversation." "So for me, it's just to do everything I can to get back to my best," Ertz continued, "because I felt like I was playing really good football before I got hurt." Ertz's time with Washington has likely come to an end, seeing that the team is very confident in John Bates and Ben Sinnott, along with the recent signing of Chig Okonkwo. That's why he is working hard to return and prove to the rest of the league that he can still perform at a professional level. It won't be easy, given his age of 35, but Ertz seems determined to get back on the field as soon as possible, one of the options being a return to Philadelphia, to play for the Eagles, where he started his legendary career. Ertz has shown that he can still play, being responsible for 11 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons, with the Commanders and moving up to 5th place in receptions and 8th in receiving yards among tight ends in NFL history during his time in Washington. However, the success of his recovery from the injury will be crucial for any team to consider him a valuable asset for the upcoming season. Although it's easy to understand why Ertz doesn't want his legacy to be seen this way. It is almost inevitable nowadays as we cling to recent events. But for true football fans, we will always remember what he was able to offer to the sport and to the Washington franchise indelibly. Zach Ertz's determination to return to professional football is admirable and inspiring for everyone. He doesn't want his career to be defined by an injury, but by the hard work and dedication he has shown over the years. His positive mindset is exactly what a professional athlete needs to recover from a serious injury. The Commanders have been fortunate to have Ertz during his 2 seasons with the team. He has been a mentor for the younger tight ends and a constant presence on the offense. His experience and leadership have been invaluable for the development of John Bates and Ben Sinnott. The story of Ertz is a reminder that age and injuries do not completely define a player. If he can fully recover, he can still be a valuable asset for any team that signs him. His experience in winning Super Bowls is something that few tight ends possess. As a Commanders fan, I sincerely hope Ertz can make a full recovery and come back to play in 2026 in an impressive way. His passion for the game is evident in his words and actions. He deserves the opportunity to end his career the way he wants. Zach Ertz's resilience and determination are qualities that all Commanders should admire and try to emulate in their own lives. He is an example of how not to give up even when things get tough. I sincerely hope he can return to the field and continue his legendary career in a memorable way. So, fan, after discovering how the Commanders could make a blockbuster trade for DK Metcalf from the Pittsburgh Steelers, understanding that Emmett Johnson may be the biggest surprise of the draft that no one expects, and learning about Zach Ertz's determination to return to the field after his serious injury, which of these situations makes you most hopeful? Do you believe the Commanders should really trade for Metcalf, or would it be smarter to invest in a young wide receiver in the draft who can contribute for more years? And more importantly, do you trust that Adam Peters will make the right choices to maximize the opportunity window with Jaden Daniels? Or are we just postponing the inevitable and need more drastic changes in the organization? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think about the future of the Washington Commanders.